And this is the headline on today's New York Daily News. The Jets are the worst team in the NFL. Gase closed. And I'll tell you something. I've worked here a long time. I didn't know FPI gave us stats on chances of losing all the rest of your games. The Jets have just made us create something brand new. So let's start with this, because the game was terrible.
Yeah.
So let's start with the big picture. Diana Rossini, what can you tell us about the job status of the Jets head coach?
I really didn't want to be here today, just so you know, knowing that we had to talk about this. At this point right now, CEO Chris Johnson is sticking with the plan, which is to stick with Adam Gase. The bar is set pretty low at this point, but from what I can sense, they feel that this Jets team was competitive enough for Gase to stay in position. Yes, there were a lot of penalties and a lot of ugly football there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I feel like we've seen this all season long, where you get a little glimmer, a little sparkle of Sam Darnold. And that's what Adam Gase's job is to do right now, is to bring out the best in Sam. And this organization still feels like they haven't seen enough. And at this point, firing Adam Gase is just going to set Sam Darnold back.
Bart Scott, you played for the Jets. You host a sports talk radio show in New York City every single day. What do you think?
Well, I think if you fire Adam Gase, then who do you go to? Jim Bob Cooter, Greg Williams. So, and listen, if we as Jet fans, me and you, Greeny, have to watch this stuff, then I'm not going to let Gase off the hook by giving him a paid vacation, so he has to live through it as well. I think, really what the Jets were trying to do was win yesterday and still won, but then hope that reinforcements would come. The problem is that their schedule gets much harder as the season goes on, so they only have a couple opportunities. Maybe the Chargers, they can still win, but if you're going to be bad, Greeny, be historically bad. So I am all for the Trevor Lawrence Bowl, and now we have the tiebreaker, so I'm all good.
Listen, I mean, the schedule can only get harder. They just lost to a team that was winless, playing without almost everyone, starting a quarterback who didn't know he was starting until Monday on a short week on a road game with a long flight. Yeah. It doesn't get easier.
And here's the thing, too, with this organization, they're not known for firing coaches during the season. In fact, the last time the New York Jets fired a head coach, it was 1975. That was during the season. So they're going to stick with how they've done it. They're going to let them finish out the year and then start over and get a new coach.
Ryan Clark, your thoughts?
Listen, this is going to be hard for me. Both of these coaches, Adam Gase and Greg Williams, played huge roles in my career. Gase in college, Greg Williams in the NFL in Washington. But I'm going to say this. The last time Greg Williams took over to be an interim head coach was for Hugh Jackson and the Cleveland Browns. And remember, he even tricked us all into believing that Baker Mayfield was the next big thing. But because of that, John Dorsey said, I'm going to hire Freddie Kitchens, who was a dumpster fire in a huge dumpster with a big old fire and more mess added to it. And we saw that. Greg Williams is organized. Greg Williams understands how to keep teams focused. And we want to talk about Sam Darnold's overall progression. It's not about what Adam Gase is doing day in and day out with him. It's about having some structure around him that protects him, that allows him to grow, that allows him to be comfortable. And so for me, we can't wait and continue to see Adam Gase do what he's doing in New York. Let's move to Greg Williams. Let's give Sam Darnold an opportunity to flourish, opportunity to thrive throughout the end of this season. And if he doesn't, and you do get that number one or that number two pick, you can truly evaluate Sam and think either Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields from Ohio State. But going this way, Sam is only going to keep going down. This team is going to continue to lose, and you will never know what pick you need to make in the future going forward.
I'll get to you in a second, Ninko, but why are you shaking your head no, Bart Scott?
Hey, listen, I know you have a infatuation about Greg Williams and you love him, but listen, he needs to farm his own land. Look what's going on with his defense. You talk about lack of discipline. Most of the penalties and the personal fouls came on the defensive side of the ball. And we talk about Adam Gase supposed to be an offensive genius. Well, Greg Williams is supposed to be his equivalent of a defensive genius. He's getting out-schemed. He gets beat. How do you not rattle a guy that was on practice squad? How do you not come up and devise a plan where you're not exposing your corners, who clearly was afraid? You look at Desir. He had fear in his eyes. I mean, you had to go give him a pep talk to even get him to go step back on the football field. And the lack of discipline is something that has plagued some of Greg Williams' teams. You look at, Quentin Williams makes a big play, but he has a technical issue where he grabs the face mask. That's all on Greg Williams' watch.
Hey, Bart, I understand that. And it's not an infatuation. I just know freaking football. And if you watch Greg Williams play football,
Likewise.
He's always coached defense like that. He's coached defense to go at your head. He's coached defenses to injure. But when he took over as the head coach, those are two different positions, two different personalities. They acquired two different skill sets. And that's the way I've seen Greg Williams work. And listen, I played defense for him, and that's how he told me to play D. But when he takes over as a coach, he's meticulous. He dots every I. He crosses every T. It's not about whether or not I think Greg Williams is great for the team as a defensive coach. You go play with Pierre Desir, and you're talking about rattle a quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions in a pick 6. So that's not the point. The point is what's going on right now. What's going on right now is not working. Do something different.
Let me get Nico in here. Rob Ninkovich, what are your thoughts?
As the great Ken Hawk Harrelson used to say, he gone. Listen up. If you can't control your locker room and you don't have the respect of your teammates or your players, you're out of there. So I agree. I agree that that the head coach isn't the right guy as far as motivating that locker room. And it's all about motivating the guys and having the ability to stand in front of a room and command respect. And Greg Williams can do that. I played for him in 2009. I can understand how he motivates a locker room. So I think that at this point right now, Gase is gone. He gone.
And let me just say this, and I covered sports in Chicago. I know Hawk Harrelson is the voice of the White Sox all those years, so I know what you're talking about. I'd like to apologize to America. We just spent 9.5 minutes talking about the terrible Jets. They definitely don't deserve that much time on this show. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.